That looks good. Looks like a president. All right, let's test out some shit. Webcam shit. This stream can be accessed again from the managed list. Exiting will not end the stream if it is currently live. Exit stream. Mm, excellent connection. So how can I tell can I tell if it's on? Hey, is anybody there? Hello? Can somebody see me? Can you tell me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I don't know. Alright, let's see. Maybe that's over here. I think it's good, actually. Oh, you know what I can do?
This line for 20 years.
Oh, I can use my phone.
Covered the war in Afghanistan for about 15 years.
Right?
Picture this, right? So either you have to be stupid or lying, okay? We assume that James Comey is lying, but I wouldn't necessarily entirely dismiss the stupid claim. Everything he has done, going back from when I learned about James Comey, remember when he said, well, we basically have all the information, we could definitely charge Hillary Clinton, but we're not going to. And then 12 days before the 2016 election, he blows it all up and says, we're reopening the investigation. Then the whole Russiagate thing, then he's kicked out of his position, and he posts photos of him staring pontificatingly into the woods, and now this. I wonder if the man is just stupid, and the reason I have to possibly even back that up, people don't know, well, a lot of people do know this, James Comey is 6'8", the lanky lawman.
Wow.
There is documented, scientific studied evidence that people have some sort of height bias. If you're tall, people think you're competent. I wonder if his height, being as tall as he is, got him to the highest levels of government, but
Email.
he's in fact an idiot. So, do I think he knew at 86? Yes, if I had to place money, I guarantee you he knew exactly what that meant. But don't discount the fact that the man might just be stupid.
All right, well, that's interesting. That makes sense. You know, I have average IQ. I'm 5'10". I'm average height. You know, struggle to make it up to the upper echelons of government myself. So there
That's the
might
reason.
definitely be something to that, though. No, I have heard that. You know, people that are tall, they have all of their hair, they have a great smile, they end up winning the presidency or become the governor or whatever. It's like we can't help but look at somebody and say, oh, they're handsome, they must be intelligent. Maybe that's what was going on with James Comey.
I mean, James Comey, there's a laundry list of examples. I mean, one that comes to mind is the current governor of California, Gavin Newsom, who on several occasions has admitted, yeah, I got a really bad SAT score. I wasn't super.
Oh, yeah. Sweet. That comes through. Oh, yeah. Sweet. That comes through. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty good. Damn. Yeah, sweet. That comes through. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty good. Damn. Yeah, sweet. Oh, look at that. That looks pretty good. Damn. All right. I'm going to do a screen recording and see how that looks. I'm going to do a screen recording and see how that looks. All right. Because when you're looking at that, how your eyes go. See, I gotta be all fucking. Mm-hmm. All right. So. No, is this a height that I can feel comfortable with? No, is this a height that I can feel comfortable with? Look at this. Is this really what? Look at this. Is this really what? Yeah. It does sound pretty decent, I think. Yeah. Does this sound okay? It does sound pretty decent. If you ask me. Does this sound okay? Alright, so while I'm doing this, I can do a window capture, I believe. In fact, okay, I see it sounds great, so I'm going to turn this off. Right, there we go. Because that does sound pretty good, to be honest. Turn off my speakers. All right. Oh, yeah. This height. That's a pretty good height. I think it's a pretty good height. I guess when you want to start talking, because I can think, and it's tough. So pretty much, I guess what I'm trying to say is, you know, the movie The Matrix, okay? The movie The Matrix, that was made about choice. You got a choice. Okay, so essentially what we got to get back to is natural law, okay? Because the enemy knows all this stuff. Well, who's the enemy? Well, who do you think is the enemy? Look, the way I put it is this is a situation where you have a very sophisticated party. And I learned about this language through watching one of those court sessions with these judges on the Trump case about the valuation of the property. You know, judge came up and said, was this even a situation of a sophisticated party taking advantage of a non-sophisticated party? I thought, of course. You could see how that's a problem, right? Apparently, in law, it's a thing where you acknowledge it ain't cool if you sophisticated to take advantage of a bunch of dummies. You can't do that. You can't do that. That ain't cool. That makes you the ultimate asshole. Well, folks, we got some ultimate assholes to be dealing with. No question about it, okay? So, one of the things is these assholes, they actually have to be assholes. Okay? And they're always taking advantage of the dumb people, right? Because the people, for whatever reason, you know, they don't know, right? See, the people that are taking advantage of us, they go by what's called natural law. That's what they go by. And I look at it like this. I believe the people of America need a natural law attorney. I'm kind of not kidding. I'm not kidding at all, actually. No way. Because in this court, this would be the argument. Your Honor, my client wasn't aware, but my client also recognizes that it is, in fact, his job to know the law. It's his job. He may not know it, but that's because, Your Honor, the defendant over here was taking advantage of these not so sophisticated people. So, Your Honor, my client promises to stop agreeing and signing the contract to give away the power to Lucifer, essentially. This is what we're talking about. These people, they're evil. But they're supposed to be evil, folks. It's the whole black and white yin and yang thing, okay? And just because you didn't know the law, which holds you accountable, right? That's how we know that this is evil, because there's this push to blame other people, right? So, I mean, they do this all the time. This is the way the evil works. They play mind games and they fuck with you, okay? That's how they do it. And we all agree to go, you know, let's give a shit what CNN says. Oh my God. This whole mainstream media thing, guys. Look, these people are making us look silly. Okay, they know exactly what they're doing. I just want to point out, as your natural law attorney, did you sign a contract that says these people owe me the truth? Did you give them any consideration in return for truth? Well, no, I just turned it on. And there they were, bullshitting me, manipulate me right in front of my face. Yes, Your Honor, my client does realize how silly this was. Like, if you think you got an enemy, it's the people that play these psychological operations on you. Those people are the actual enemies. This Republican, Democrat shit, it's just a division tool. I mean, it's so frustrating. And I know so many people think this, like, how is it that we can know that this happens and yet let them do this to us? I mean, I actually do know how. I'll tell you exactly how they do it. Exactly how they do it. You know, I thought about going on the dark side. I thought about it. But no. Okay. The reason why they can do that to you is because it's not your fault. It's not their fault that you're not paying attention. It's not their fault. If you're not going to pay attention and you're going to keep giving your power away, then this is what is supposed to be happening. And right now, they got general society to the point where they can do whatever they want. And believe me, and people know that these people have a plan for our asses, okay? Let me ask you something. Do we have a plan for our asses? What is it? Look, I know a lot of people like Trump, okay? And, I have complicated feelings about that, of course, because I'm me and I'm paying too fucking close attention. Oh my God, shit, people, man. You have any idea? You have no clue what's going on. This little framework of media has a lot of people in a hypnosis state. They think this theater that they putting on through the media is real. That's the way they think it is. And I know. It's astounding. Like, it's actually... So, essentially what you got is this. You got people that want to know, and then you got people that don't want to know. Okay? It ain't got nothing to do with politics. Not really. They make it like that, but it's not. It's a whole bunch of, like, ex-Democrats like me. I'm not conservative at all. I'm right in the fucking middle, man. I love everybody. Me, only thing I want is for people to stop playing this stupid fucking Republican and Democrat. Look, it's not a good look, y'all. It's not a good look. I mean, we look silly. I'll be honest with you. And they think you look silly too. In fact, they think that, well, I know, because this is how it works. This is how universal law works. If you allow someone to treat you like this, then you have a problem. That's your problem. They didn't tell you. Yes, you were deceived. Yes, but it's not, you got to stay on your toes, man. You just can't sit back in the cut and like, watch TV and shit. You got to fucking pay attention, okay? There's some stuff that they don't tell you, right? Look, it comes down to you either want to know or you don't want to know. Basically, that's it. Some people don't give a fuck, right? Because especially if you're in America, right? Like, all you got to do is work a job and look, stuff's hard in America too, right? But America is pretty good. If you're in a situation, I don't know. Maybe you should have had better planning and stuff. Look at these immigrants come over, they do good, right? Look at them. Shoot, immigrants in America, they take advantage of stuff that the people who have roots in America, I don't know why that is. That's an interesting subject. I don't want to go there. The point is America's pretty good. And I think a lot of people don't really realize that. Like, the whole thing is a game. Keep everybody stupid, right? So you can just sit there and let yourself be taken advantage of. So essentially what we're talking about is the root of the evil, because it is evil. In fact, yes, let's use the word, it is satanic, right? Absolutely. That whole satanic shit is real, and you're looking at it right now, okay? So the question for us is, all right, what are we going to do about it? Because we got to do something about this. So let's say, again, I'm your natural law attorney. I would urge you, okay, to choose to take back your power. All right. Now, I don't like throwing words around. What is power? I talk about this a lot, and I'll keep saying it over and over again, because it's not, look, most of the stuff isn't my opinion. This is the way it works, okay? I didn't write the law. I'm just here to interpret it for you, to set you on the path that we really need to get going on. Because these motherfuckers ain't playing around, okay? They're fucking with the atmosphere. They're fucking with genetics. They just ran this whole COVID game on us, okay? Look, we cannot just sit back and not do nothing. All right, so I would urge you to understand the two components of power. Call it the power factor, power formula. Call it whatever you want, but this is how it works. I didn't make it up. And I'll explain it in very good detail. And it's three-dimensional. It's mostly it's two-dimensional. It can't go three, but I'm just going to stick to the two dimensions of power, okay? And this is for real. This is for real. This ain't no fucking around, okay? So listen up. It's one of the most important things. So essentially, it works like this. We are all one. This is true. All this stuff I'm getting ready to say is compatible with every fucking religion. So it doesn't matter what your religion is. All your guys, the heads of whatever, you got the Jesus, you got the Muhammad, you got the whatever it is. Even Baal. I don't think Baal will argue with this, right? Okay, so power emanates from the heart and the mind. It's say multiplication between knowledge and love. That's what it is. We already say knowledge is power. Well, that's true, but that's just half the part. The other part is love. Knowledge, love. Okay. The opposite of each is ignorance, right? Now, the opposite of love, I'm aware people make this mistake sometimes. Let's clear it up right now. It's not hate, okay? It's actually fear. You hear me? So we got knowledge and ignorance, and we got love, and we got fear. Fear begets hate. You hate what you fear. Or else why would you hate it? Right? Okay. And not going to try to pretend I understand everything about the science about this, but I think it's pretty well understood. You could look it up, that we have energy, frequency emanating from both our heart and our minds, right? So these are just a choice. I know that sounds simple, but this is the way the universe works. It doesn't care what your situation is. So you're either in pursuit of knowledge or you're in the pursuit of love. Like you can make decisions based on love. Are you making a decision based on fear? You got to ask yourself these questions. Okay, one of the things that some of you know about, like say the secret societies, one of the things they say in different ways, but essentially is know thyself, right? Yes, that's important. They know that. That's why they say that, because it has to do with knowledge. And I'm getting into that second dimension, because knowledge has two dimensions. It's your knowledge of the outside of you and the knowledge of the inside of you. Same with love side. There's the love outside of you, which relates to unity, because that's what it is, unity. We are all one. And then there's the love that you have for yourself inside. And especially when you realize what you are, your love for yourself grows. Now, this is the essence of power. It just is, okay? I didn't make it up. The people who are more sophisticated than us, they know this, right? As a lot of you might know about our military, they got some type of slogan, right? When they go take over some other shit, right? Is win over hearts and minds. Whenever they colonize, whatever you want to call it, right? That's what they do. They want to win over hearts and minds. It's a psyop. You know what they're doing? They want to start sucking power out of the population, and there's different ways they do that. And that's where the banking system comes in. Play that old Babylonian money magic. Yep, that's what the Babylonian money magic's all about, is being able to use scarcity to invoke fear. And when you get that fear, the devil can get in there and, start sucking some energy. That's how it works. I kid you not. So it's a choice. Look, these guys are smart, right? So like when I say the devil, like both the good and the bad have their like pinnacle. And when I say the devil, I just mean as a metaphor for saying the pinnacle of evil. And that can come in some pretty interesting forms, if you ask me, especially when you start to get interdimensional. And that's kind of the other third part of the power equation, because, see, the more power you have, the more your spirit, your inside light shines. Look at it like this. If you want to make a light shine, what you got to do? You got to put a lot of power into it, right? You understand what I'm saying? So the more you seek understanding, right, and know what questions to ask, all these different things, and you look, here's a pro tip, okay? Pro tip on this spiritualized kind of stuff, right? And this is look, I said, if Jesus is right here, he'd be like, roll, Miles, roll. I swear to God, Jesus would understand everything I'm saying. And if you ask a lot of theologians, I don't think they have a problem with it at all. You got to choose, okay? And there's no right or wrong. It doesn't make you good or bad. These are judgmental words that invoke fear. There's no right or wrong. It's unfortunate if some people do some stuff, if they choose to do, like, take the left-hand path. It's unfortunate they do it, but you know what? Hey, that has to be, because good and evil have to coexist. This is kind of like no way around it. But like on a yin-yang wheel, they do rotate. And it looks like we're coming up on a little evil bump right there, right? That's what's going on right now. It is. That's basically what's going on right now. However, again, if I'm your natural law attorney, I'm going to advise you to take the hit. You made a bad choice, okay? Let's figure out a plan to get you where you need to be to start taking back your power. All right. So let's come up with a plan about where we need to be to start taking back our power. All right. So let's get into it. Knowledge. All right. Now look, if you want to be a part of this this revolution, look, you have to make a commitment to increase your understanding of how the world works. Okay? That's generally going to mean try to get out of the left-right paradigm and come a little bit closer to the middle. Right? And let me explain how you can do that. Let's say you're a conservative and right now you feel beat up by the crazy liberals. I mean, look, they got the whole media against the conservatives, right? Because this is one of the parts of the color revolution. That's what they're doing to us, right? It's a color revolution. And to do that, you just make everybody pick a side and then you go for it. You know, they're basically instigating fights. I mean, there's so many obvious situations of this. It seems like absurd. I mean, look, to be honest, if we even think, look, this is not a democracy, right? These people are clowns. All of them, they're clowns. And it's not because necessarily they're bad people. It's because we let it happen. I mean, they're doing it right in front of our faces. And we don't seem to have a problem with it. And I think that's a bad. I think that's a bad reflection on our part. I mean, they are fucking us over so bad. It's embarrassing. We should be embarrassed for taking this. Okay, so let's move on. Power, knowledge, right? I don't see any other way. I know a lot of us are doing this awakening process, right? That's one of the most, I think, encouraging parts of this. So like me, when it's all said and done, I'm gonna thank these motherfuckers. I am. Because without this shit, people would still be asleep. But fortunately now we got people waking up. Now they see what all the conspiracy theorists were talking about, right? You know, they played that as part of the psychological operation, the usage of that word, because they know how to do this. It's a shaming thing. Look, these guys, and I like the way Mark Passio puts it. He says they are, and this is known, they are professional, like, mass manipulators. Essentially, this is a farm. That's why George Orwell wrote it like that, because that's how they look at it. And just like any good farmer, right? You know how to work your livestock. You know, you gotta know how to push their buttons. Make them go left, make them go right. And these guys, they got that on us in spades. Like, you have no idea. I mean, this it goes back. There's like two avenues of this manipulation. One of them we know goes back to Egypt, and the more recent one goes back to, like, what's the name of that guy? Freud's nephew. What's his name? Somebody type it in the comments for me. What's Freud's name? Please give me a chat. Freud's nephew's name. What's his name? Okay. I'm just going to Google it right now. Let's see if I can actually share that and do it like that. Can I do that? I guess not. Thought I'd be able to. Looks like I am. All right, let's write it in here. Freud's nephew. Edward Bernays, that's the guy. That's the guy. Edward Bernays. Anyhow, Edward Bernays, a psychiatrist guy, he helped corporations fuck with the people so they can sell more shit, right? Appeal to their mammalian sense. And it's just like, it's in a way, it's really disrespectful. Because they are sophisticated, and we're not so sophisticated. We don't know we're getting fucked. We don't know we're getting screwed over like this. We don't even know anything about it. Just like make money, go to school, and let them keep fucking you in the ass, right? Or like, you know, Matrix is a good example of this, right? They bring that up a lot. The Matrix. The Matrix is all about natural law. It's a choice. Red pill, blue pill. Staying in the Matrix is essentially agreeing to give all your power away, which means you go to these schools where they fuck with you, indoctrinate you, and then, you know, mainstream media has got to fuck with you and bullshit you, and then they got to tell you who to hate. The Republicans, the Democrats, the Republican. If you look at it, whether it's CNN, it don't matter any of that shit, right? All they do, think about how often you hear them say Republicans, Democrats, Republicans, Democrats, Republicans. That's intentional to put in your mind this fight, this constant fight. If you choose to be one of these, mainstream media is there to take advantage of your ego, okay? Your willingness to other people. So now they got you. Now they can sit there and scare you. And they do. The Republicans are losing to the Democrats. Ah, we got to get back at them. My identity needs to be validated. If I'm losing, you know, that takes away from. So in other words, your identity is always like based on this bullshit game, the Republicans against the Democrats. I mean, if you play in that game, come on. Come on. But here's the thing. Okay. If tomorrow all the Democrats and all the Republican people on the ground, okay, in the neighborhoods, in the cities, right, not online, that's some bullshit. But if on the ground, the Republicans and the Democrats decided to have meetups and hug each other and shit, do you realize? People don't realize the power in that. I understand that. But that would, you know, this is what I want to write a movie about. Right? This is the vision I want to see. This is make me the happiest person in the world, because this is the only thing I want. While y'all playing Republicans and Democrats, I only want you to stop playing that game. That's the only thing I want. Look, we don't have democracy right now. Okay? This is not democracy. This is a mind control program. That's exactly what this is. No, that is exactly what this is. Full stop. And like I say, there's a lot of, this is an industry. This is a total industry. And a lot of it is paid for by your tax dollars and run out of the Pentagon. Yep, sure is. DARPA's involved. You know, it's kind of a big deal. It's so like, this is a farm, right? And this shit going on right now is a way to make the farm run more efficiently. Because that's ultimately what the energy suckers, you know, the evil people, that's what they want. They want to suck as much energy out of us as possible. You know, people talk about The Secret and stuff. in my mind, one of the biggest secrets is what this energy is that they're sucking from us is all about. And this gets into us not really understanding who and what we are. That's what that is. And that's our fault. It is just on us. You can't expect anybody to teach it to you. You don't want to learn or you don't. Most people don't give a shit. They don't know. Nobody told them. Anyhow, if you understood what it is you were, you might have more appreciation for yourself, right? You might have more love for yourself as like a oneness unity with all your fellow mankind in the image of infinite wisdom, the universe. Some people call it God. I don't like to use that word. Okay, don't like to use that word. But you know what I'm saying, right? That is the truth. We are all connected. We are all one. In love, under the, spiritual universe stuff. This is the way it is. And the people, like I say, that run this planet, they know all this stuff. Okay? Some of your tax dollars went to the CIA so they can understand some of this stuff. They got all these projects and shit where they study all this. Some for real shit. So the whole thing is they got to make sure we don't know what the hell this shit is all about. And they're doing a damn good job. It's disappointing. Now, again, you can cross-check everything I'm saying. But this is the way the world works. I didn't make it up. If you want to look up more, look, one of the ways that this is getting popularized is this whole manifestation thing people talk about, right? People talk about that stuff. Or like the law of attraction. Right? Yes. This is all natural law based. Absolutely. And you could say it's kind of like witchcraft a little bit too, right? It's a little witchcrafty, like manifest stuff. Well, there's a lot to that, right? When you have, the more power you have on these dimensions that I'm referring to, that's how you get the spirit energy to be able to direct that energy and manifest. Yes, that's how it works. Anyhow, like this is not again, all the religions, peoples, they would understand all this and be like, yeah, that's right. Yes, they would, because it's universal law based, and that has impact on basically all the religions. Like, I think it was something in the Muslim religion, I think it was, where they said, if you let it happen, then you may as well be the person that allowed it to happen. Like, for example, one of the reasons we are infidels is because even though we know they're taking money out of our pockets and then go kill people in some other countries, no, we don't like that. Who likes that? Right now, most Americans right now don't want war because we're all realizing, well, everything's a fucking lie. So we're like, fuck this, no more fucking wars and shit. This is bullshit, right? Everybody's sick of it. Got off on a tangent there because that's something I'm sick of. But we could make that stop if we wanted to. It'd be pretty easy. So the way the revolution would have to be is to undo the damage they've done to what I'm going to lovingly call House America. Yeah, because that's how they think. That's how they got their houses and stuff. There's a reason for that. We need to think right now to keep us united as House America. We all live in one big, great house together. When we start thinking like that, that'll help. So that's just like a visualization I'm throwing out there. House America. And essentially, we've opened the door to these motherfuckers, and they come in and start fucking with our family. And we need to right now unite and kick these motherfuckers out of the house. That's basically what we need to do. We need to go into the basement and fix the foundation of the house. Yep, that's absolutely true. But in order to do this, we're going to have to agree to stop giving away our power. And we're going to have to start understanding that we need to get united right now. Okay, so this is going to have to be a ground game, the revolution. Okay, it's a ground game. So what I'm looking for, and this is going to be, okay, let's admit it, guys, right? Our left-wing friends, they've kind of, not looking good. Look, I don't give a fuck, okay? I got nothing against liberals. I have lots of stuff against everybody, okay? But right now, it's the liberals that are the problem right now. It might be next week. It might be the conservatives. You know, I don't care. But right now, we got to reach out to the liberals and let them know we still love them. This is so important, guys. I know it sounds corny, but you can't talk about love and shit and not be ready to fucking execute. And right now is the time to execute. Okay. So I need some liberals and I need some conservatives to get together and have meetups where you talk and hug each other. This has got to be the new thing. I know it sounds silly, motherfuckers, but I don't care. That's what you need to do right now. We need. Is love not God? Okay. Is not the most detrimental to our society, this division between the left and right, is that not the most detrimental going on right now? Folks, we got people talking about TDS. Oh my God. Look, this is a real problem. Again, I am not here to denigrate anybody. I know the reason why they have TDS is because of this psychological game that they're playing. I know that's why. When I look at these, you know, we keep seeing these videos, and there's this one guy I follow, and I actually kind of wouldn't mind bringing him up. I still got this on the screen. All right, let me put myself back on the screen. How you do that? Here we go. So, yeah. I did lose my train of thought there. Maybe that's a good thing. Anyhow, all right. So, yeah, I know that's why they do that. I'm trying to get back into what I was thinking here. One view. All right. Let me see if I can get back into this. Yeah, so the liberals and the conservatives have to make up on the ground level, and we got to start uniting. And it's going to probably be the conservatives, because they don't have all this hate that the liberals have for the conservatives or the Trumpers or even the people in the middle like me. Yeah, look, I don't really vote, and I know people are going to, but this whole thing, this whole illusion of voting making a difference, it's just, I'm not playing this stupid fucking game. I'm just not doing it. Because I know it's a game. I don't want to add any energy to that bullshit. So I generally don't vote. You know, I hope for the best. And in this case, yeah, I did hope Trump was going to win. But I also know, you know, look, when it comes to this political shit, you got to really pay attention. This whole thing with the mass media just doing the Republicans versus the Democrats and using fear and division and to fuck with people. I mean, it's just such, I'm really disappointed, honestly, that a lot of people fall for that. It's like, wow, how did we not know? It's called divide and conquer. didn't fucking discover something new. This is something that everybody knows. This is what they do. Why are we letting them get away with it? You know, I really want to say something to the kids. I really do want to say something to the kids. Kids, on behalf of adults, I'm sure a lot of adults will disagree with me, but I don't give a fuck. They're wrong. Okay? We owe you an apology. I'm sorry. We didn't do our job, and this whole... Look, the whole COVID thing, it was some bullshit, right? I think we all know that. Do we not all know that at this point? Some people still think that was some real shit. But somebody died. Yeah, they were killing people. Yes. People didn't even have to die. They wanted people to die so that they could scare everybody, so they can get them to do some shit. Mainly consent to the vaccine. And it worked really, really well. They did a really good job. They did a good job. They executed that very, very well. Now, one of the ways that you know that this is the case, because, you know, if you're looking at other countries, they had the exact same program. Yeah, turns out it was a big old fucking contract. They went around, had countries sign these contracts. Don't take my word for it. You can look it up. The contract that I believe that Pfizer had with Israel was under some scrutiny over in Israel, but there were other contracts, and they even had a practice session. If you looked at how other countries did it, it was the same. A lot of things were very, very, very similar. They did it in their own different ways, but they ran them at the exact, pretty much the same way. The whole goal was to see what they can get away with. And they found out they got a whole bunch of data. It may seem over to certain people, but the fact of the matter is these people got a whole bunch of data, and they will use it against us in the future unless we do what we need to do and stop playing this bullshit. I mean, come on, guys. Are you serious? He's going to lay back and just go, okay, what can we do? I'm not buying that. So how do we get these Republicans and these Democrats to heal this division? Because this is what we have to do. There's just no other way. This represents the unity. Now, as far as the knowledge is concerned, look, that seems to be happening pretty good on its own, right? I can't believe some of the stuff I see in my feed, right? You could say I'm old school. I've been into this for a long time. I understand and know about a lot of shit. Right? I mean, I could go on and on and on and on. And what you find is, oh, okay, there's a whole lot of other people in the world learning the same stuff. I mean, because look, there's so many aspects of it, but they all interconnect. And when you talk to other people who are doing this, knowledge thing, it's really interesting to have those conversations because, you're putting, other people are seeing the same things as you, but maybe in different ways. That's essentially what it is. Then you even have people that actually know about some of that stuff firsthand. That's happened to me. And then you realize, because look, like I say, either you want to know or you don't want to know. Some people don't give a fuck. But for me, I mean, and a lot of you people out there who are seeking understanding and knowledge, especially with this internet age, because what's going on is the Great Awakening. That's what I wanted to get to. The Great Awakening, that's what's going on right now. Everybody's learning basically how bad we've been lied to. That's essentially what it is, right? So that's happening very organically on its own, and I encourage everybody, it's way more, this little farm, right, that they have in media, it's like a farm. That's what it is. They want to keep you on the farm. Just, pay attention to the Republicans and the Democrats on the farm, and that's all you need to do. That's all you need to do. But there's so much more going on. I mean, I know for a lot of people, look, this is another fear thing, right? The thought of that is scary, right? You know, when it comes to like this alien shit, that's probably pretty scary to a lot of people, right? Oh, aliens are gonna come get us. That's the other. And they do plan, by the way, they have already started playing that card. Right? We know that's coming. And they're going to use it. That's what they do. They use that fear. In this case, it'll be to control and, you know, get to where they ultimately want to be with our asses on lockdown, basically constantly like sheep. That's what they want. That's where this is going. Transhumanist surveillance state, 15-minute cities, you know, that's where they want it. Nobody knows about that stuff, right? But you know what? I say it doesn't matter. You don't even have to know. The only thing we need to know is what we want, where we want to go. And I think the easiest thing to do, and this is what a lot of people say, and I agree. That would be the way to do it. Like constitutionally, we are set up. Do you know? Check this out. We are set up within the rule of law to execute on this right now. And that is actually going back to what we were supposed to be, which is a constitutional republic, which is unfortunate because I know that is a trigger word for liberals. Liberals got triggered by that word, which is a damn shame because, you know, the Constitution is important. People do take it for granted, and they don't really teach it in schools like they should. But one of the reasons why they don't teach it in schools like they should is because they know that gives us power. So, hey, let's check off Constitution, scrap that shit, throw that in the trash can. No. This is very similar to how like people understand how plantations work, right? You got to keep the slaves stupid. You got to punish them if they even think about learning to read. Because reading could lead to knowledge, and knowledge is power. So you got to make sure. That's why all the schools suck. Of course, that's why all the schools suck. Guys, let me tell you this. It's just not a good look. We don't look good. We look like weak little bitches. And if I get back, you know, put my, say, attorney for America in the court of natural law hat on, you yourself get some work to do. So I want you to make a commitment. If you can make, this is the deal. You don't get off unless you can make the commitment to putting your money where your mouth is, because you talk a bunch of shit, but you don't know shit. Oh, that sounds so bad. I know. I'm sorry. But unfortunately, it's true. And it's not your fault. You're not bad people. You got handed a bad card. People lied to you. They deceived you. Okay, now what are we going to do about it? Well, we got to get up off our asses and stop getting our fucking asses kicked. Okay? Right? Get back to power. How do we get back to power? Like I say, two factors of power: love and knowledge. Knowledge. Everybody is learning. Let's keep that up. Is there a way we can accelerate? Let's go big on that. Let's. How can we multiply that? Okay, I got this one idea, right? Maybe we can get the kids involved. Yep. Maybe we can fund, I don't know, like a high school network of journalists. I know, that sounds silly. It's not silly. It's actually fucking brilliant. I got the best ideas. Yeah, because the kids are honest. The kids are actually closer to God because they don't have much of this like identity ego with like picking left or right. By the way, kids, like I say, I'm sorry we let this happen to you. Don't make this mistake that we made. The mistake that we made specifically was agreeing to play the dumb game. The Republicans versus the Democrat game. that game comes with allowing allowing your mind to be influenced by people who don't give a shit about what you think other than what they're paid to tell you. I mean, because that's the truth. These people get paid to talk bullshit to you. Well, it's the truth. It would be completely different if you had paid them to tell you the truth and then they did not execute on that contract. Be a completely different situation. Yeah, they owe you something. But in this case, they don't owe you anything, and you, sir, you, America, have to come to terms with your stupidity. I'm sorry, but it just is stupid, and there's no way around it. And you gotta admit it. Damn, what the fuck was I thinking watching that shit, telling me what to be afraid of, and gaslighting me and turning me against my neighbor. Damn, why did I fall for that shit? That's what everybody's gotta go through, basically. And then we gotta have the Republicans and the Democrats do meetups. You guys gotta do something right now. And there's a couple things that you can really. First thing is, let's understand who the real enemy is. It's not our neighbors. Can we agree on that? Yes, we agree on that. That's not too hard, right? And then I think another thing would be to maybe apologize. All y'all should agree to apologize to the kids. Because look, the buck stops here. Our kids were significantly damaged by the whole COVID scam. If we had been paying attention and not playing this game, I guarantee you we wouldn't have been in this situation. Okay? Period. End of story. But we weren't paying attention. We thought we could watch CNN and, I don't know, it's just easy, you get entertained. You get mad, angry, you get scared. Why they play everybody so hard? It's actually pathetic. For me, actually, when COVID happened, it was really scary for me because, I could see it right from my face, a psychological operation. I knew it was. It was not because I'm special, but long time ago, and this, I'm not the only one. There's a whole bunch of people that knew this was some bullshit. It was interesting to see who knew and who didn't. That was really interesting. Who would fall for it and who wouldn't. I can think of several times I've had encounters with people that I'd see. I remember a friend of mine, Ed. He's a doctor. He's an oncologist, so he knows some medical shit. See, just because he knows medical shit, though, doesn't necessarily mean that he could understand what was going on. That was very interesting. So I didn't assume that he knew. And I was a little worried because, this is how it was back then. Okay, is this person buying this shit or what? That sucked. I'm glad that's over. But anyhow, he knew it was bullshit. I was like, phew, okay. Cool. And I could get, I talked with him about some of the science that I was understanding and learning about it. And, and I did gain a lot from talking with doctors and stuff about things. Like this nurse gal I knew, she was telling me stuff about codes. I really didn't understand it at first, but I'm glad she at least mentioned it to me. So the next time I heard it, I was like, that's what she was talking about, them codes. The codes that all the hospitals got to tell them how to treat COVID. That was some sinister shit. Some of y'all know about that, some of y'all don't. This whole thing was so obviously evil. If you saw everything that was going on, it was evil to where it scared a lot of people. It scared me. I was like, wow, boy, these guys are. It was a bold move. I had heard from one of the people that I follow that said that when they were going to do this, they were going to really have a big go at it. And she was fucking right. That was great to do a double whammy. Look, you can think what you want, but this is the truth. The whole thing was very well planned out. First, they did the COVID scare, right? Then they threw the color revolution on top of that. Bam, bam. The goal was to cause damage to society. So now what? Everything that we have now was intended, which is what? Distrust in our institutions, fear of the other, right? So this has to do with knowledge and love. They are sucking. This is, say on the spiritual side, I'm always a little hesitant to go too far. Okay. Because I know that a lot of people, I don't think the kids are as afraid of it. I'm really impressed by how they have really, they're learning a lot, man. They are really processing a lot of, when I talk to like a 24-year-old who say like, I don't know, maybe knows who David Grush is, or even might understand some deeper esoteric stuff, I'm surprised. But they're learning really fast, and I think it's unfortunate that they, like, I wish I could make a school for them that wanted to understand spiritual stuff. It's not that hard to understand, to be honest. I don't think it is. There's a couple different ways that you can study these things. And, maybe I'll produce some material to point people in the right direction, but it's pretty sweet. The key is, this is the key. You gotta want to know, right? If you want to know, then you can find out. Seek and you shall find. You gotta ask the questions and stuff. Luckily for me, I'll be honest with you, right? I had this thing called a Kundalini awakening. I didn't even know what the fuck a Kundalini awakening is when I was going through it. I had no idea what that even was. But it was some tripped out shit, bro. Fuck. It took me a year before I came across the whole term, and the first after it happened. And then it was so cool because I would Google, and you should too, Google Kundalini Awakening Experiences. I actually did a video on that. Anyhow, it's really interesting to hear other people's stories because it's similar but different. It depends on obviously who you are, the situation, everything, but it's essentially the same thing. I think pretty much anyone that went through it would agree. It's basically like your initiation into spirit world, where spirit says, I see you, and the spirit world sees you. I mean, there is no question, right? And unless you have it happen to you, you can't even imagine what that could be like. But, it is definitely, it's just like, but basically what it is like it's opening a door. But once the door is open, what you could walk into, wow. I mean, and I'm pretty sure that most of the experiences would agree that once that door is open, you realize that there's a door there, and then it's open to something greater. Doesn't mean you got all the answers. It's not the end all be all. It ain't no nirvana or anything like that. But it's now you realize that there is something there 100%. And the door is open to you now. And it's your choice how you choose to, continue to walk down that path. Everybody's on their own path. Look, you can either sit down on a log and not walk the path. But that's a choice. And if you don't want to walk, sit your ass down. It's okay. No judgment, no problem. And if you choose to walk down the path, you know, there's some advantages. There's some advantages and disadvantages. Sitting on your ass, at least you're not going to get hurt, right? Stay safe, stay cushy. You're not going to get hurt. So I'm sitting here and chill. You walk down the path, oh boy, look out. You never know what's going to happen, right? You are taking a risk. But the advantage of the risk is basically your light gets brighter the further you walk down the path. You know, you stumble, you get hurt, you learn. One of the shamanistic principles, ideas of this, you know, I mentioned one earlier, which is know thyself. One of the ways that you can know thyself is by constantly asking yourself what you're afraid of. That's a good one. That's good advice. As my client, as your natural law attorney, know thyself. What was the other one I just said? I'm getting tired. I think I'm going to go to bed. And yes, always ask yourself what you're afraid of. And hopefully, you know, maybe this will get out to liberals. Maybe not. I don't know. Look, guys, we got to talk, okay? We got to talk. One of the things we got to do, the other things we got to is deal with this COVID thing, okay? And look, I don't know what's going on, and I'm not sure how to approach it, okay? Y'all gotta chill out, man. Damn, you're scaring people. It's like nobody can talk to you. Like, try to talk about the most basic stuff, about real stuff, and you guys seem to get really upset. This is kind of like narcissism, be honest. You know, they say the best way to deal with a narcissist is walk away if you can. But if the narcissist is in your family, what are you gonna do? You gotta deal. And look, guys, these folks are in our family. No. I think all we can do is just tell them we love them. That's the best thing we can do, is tell them we love them. In fact, I got an idea for that. I'm gonna put this out there. I'm gonna get more than maybe one view tomorrow. Maybe somebody will give a fuck what I'm talking about. Yeah, so what I'm talking about is actually starting the revolution. I'm talking about the framework we're gonna base it on and how we can execute today on taking back our power. All right, good night.